Hi digital makers, Christina here from the Raspberry Pi Foundation. Thank you so much for joining us for Digital Making at Home. We had coders last week coding from their homes in Canada and Iraq, the United States, the United Kingdom. I can't wait to see where you all are coding from this week. I'm coding from my home in California and I'm excited to code with you today. So our theme this week is Tell Us a Story. So we have a couple of projects to help you get started. We have a beginner project with Mr. C and Zach that'll walk you through how you can tell a story using Scratch. Then we are going to be doing our medium level project with me, Christina, and this is going to have you do a project with HTML and CSS. Now, if you feel like you're a more advanced coder, definitely check out our advanced project with Mark, which is going to be another HTML and CSS project. So I encourage you to find the project that best fits your level so you can get started coding. All right, let's jump into our project. So we're going to be doing the Tell a Story project. So you can join me on this project by going to rpf.io/DMAH-tell a story. So feel free to jump right in so you can have this page up or just follow along on the video. So to start, let's identify what we're going to be doing in this project. If you're new to the projects at the Raspberry Pi Foundation, we always have them formatted this way. We've got our title, what type of language you're going to be coding in, and then our table of contents here on the left that walks you through the steps to make a final product. So our final product is a web page. This gives you an idea of what it's going to look like. We're going to learn how to add text to a web page, images, and specifically how to create this neat layout here, which is great for telling a story. Next up, the project will let us know what we need. So in this case, we just need a computer. So make sure you've got your computer ready to go, and we're going to be using a website called Trinket, which I'll explain in a second. All right, so here, our project also gives us guidance on how to choose a story before you start coding. So we have suggestions here. Maybe you want to do a famous story, maybe a story that you made up with characters, a magical land, or maybe you want to tell us a story about something that has happened to you or someone you know. We want to hear these stories. Now, if you don't have a story yet, don't worry. Still follow along with this video so you can learn how to create a web page and then you can add in your story later. So let's get started. We're going to open up our starter project, which is this trinket here. All right, so let's get started. We are going to head over to Trinket, and we want to specifically open up this trinket because this is one of our starter projects, which already has some code populated in it, which is great. So let's go ahead and go over Trinket so you have an idea of this, how we're using this tool. So Trinket is an all-in-one coding environment, which is great because this is an awesome tool for folks that are learning how to code like you and me. So here on our left side, we see our code, and then on our right side here, we see the web page that we are making. So I'm actually going to make this code bigger so you can see it. Excellent, that looks a lot better. So what I'm doing here is I'm remixing a project. So I'm logged in, but you'll see up here is you'll see a remix button. So you'll want to click that button and then it's going to prompt you to log in. So make sure to ask your parents' permission so you can create an account and save your project. Here at the top we have two options here. One is the share, so I'll talk about that at the end so you know how you can share your project. We also have this button here, the auto run. And what this does is it runs your code automatically. So if I make a change here, for example, I'm going to change this to Christina's story. You'll see here that our web page automatically changes. So the program is automatically run to see the changes. We can change the setting to click to run. So then you'll see here if I add in some code, we don't see those changes yet reflected in the web page. We actually have to run the code. So what I'm going to do is I actually like the auto run option, so I'm going to keep it on auto run. All right, so let's actually check out our code. So if you're new to HTML, HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. So this is code that is used to create web pages. And you'll see here with the HTML, we have the content of our web page. With this first code here, we have two elements. We have a head element and a body element. So the code here for line 4, this code is actually linking our web page to a CSS file. So you'll see here style.css. This file is actually right here in the second tab, and we're going to go over it in a second. So moving to line 7, we see a body tag. So this is an opening tag. And then we actually see the closing tag down here, line 16. I know this is a closing tag because we have that /. So within this tag, we have the content of our web page. So starting here on line 9, this is the title of our web page. So since we're actually, I'm going to be writing a story about, surprise, the pets are actually specifically puppies of the Raspberry Pi Foundation. So I'm going to change this title to Digital Making at Home with Puppies. I know, get excited. I got folks at the Raspberry Pi Foundation to send me photos of their puppies. So it's going to be cute. All right, so we've got our title, and this tag here is a header tag. So this changes the size of our text. So you can change this from 1 to 6. Let's explore what that looks like. I'll change this to 4. Change this one to 4 too. Make sure you change your closing tag. All right, that makes it pretty small. So I think I'm actually, now that I've tested that out, I want to keep it at 1. I like that size. And let's move to our div tag, which starts on line 11. This div tag, this creates the layout that we're going to be using here. So this is our first, so from line 11 to line 14, this code right here creates this square that contains the sun, which we see in line 12. We see img src means image source, which in this case, the title, the name of this file is sun.png. Then we see in line 13, this is a paragraph tag, which contains the text, "It was a beautiful day," and we see that on our page right here. And then we have our closing tag. So this is the content that's on our web page. Let's actually move to the CSS file so we can actually explore how you can add some style to your web page. So CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets, and like I mentioned, it's used to add style. So style means color, the fonts that you're using. And we'll see here that our CSS file, we're styling by tag. So you'll see we had talked, I'll go back to the HTML file. We had different tags here. So we had the body, we had the header, we had our div tag, and we also had image. So you'll see those reflected here. We have body, div, paragraph, image. So each of these is adding style to those elements, to the content of our web page. So here with body, we have the background color is white. So I'm actually going to change that. I'm going to change that to blue and see what we get. Okay, that's kind of a dark blue. Actually, you know what I want to see? I wonder if aqua green is a color that I can use. That would be great. Nope, it's not. That's okay. What you can do is you can actually just Google HTML colors. I know that light blue is a color that I can use. So I'm going to do that. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to use light blue. And then let's try out, I'm going to do a different font. I'm more of an Arial font person. So I'm going to go ahead and change that font. So we see these changes happening because I have auto run as my setting right now. So I like that because I'm automatically seeing the changes happen. So then with our div tag, this is the style for this square here. So we see as we look through it, specifically what are some changes you can make easily are the background color. I think I'm going to change this background color actually to pink. We can also change the size of the square. Right now it's 200, px stands for pixels. It's 200 pixels wide and it's 200 pixels high. Then we also have the border. You can change the size of the border and also the color of the border. I like how it is, so I'm going to keep it as is, but you should definitely change it up, make it your own. Then moving down to line 15, we're looking at the style now for our paragraph tag. So we see here position, background. I think I'm gonna actually change the background. I'm gonna change this background to yellow. And you should see, we're gonna see that change, great, reflected in my web page. All right, this feels good. Just taking a moment to appreciate my code. This is exciting. And then same thing here, you can change the size of the border and the color of the border. And then you can also change the font size as well. Then lastly, we have our image tag. We have the style here, and we see the height for our image. I actually want to make this a little bit smaller. I'm going to change that to 75%. Okay, I like how that looks. Okay, neat. So feel free, explore how you can add style to your web page, changing. And what's really neat about this is like you can't break it. Just go in, type it up, add in, type out your code. Two things to help you out is you can always use Control Z or Commands Z depending on the computer you're using, and that will allow you can undo anything that you've added into your code. And if you just want to start all over, no judgment there. Sometimes that happens. You can go up here to the menu and you can go to reset, and that'll reset your whole project back to the original. I'm going to keep mine as it is right now. Okay, so I've shown you how you can change the content and you can also change the style of your code. Let's actually add some more of these div tags to create more squares so we can add more of our story. So first, actually, I want to change our first div tag because right now I have digital making at home with puppy. So I want to make sure that this first square is reflective of my story. So I'm going to change this actually. I'm going to add in a new image. So to do that, you can go here to the top icon where you can view and add images. You're going to see some images already in your Trinket. And if you have images, so like I mentioned, I had my friends at the Raspberry Pi Foundation send me photos of their puppies. So I've uploaded those here. And to do that, you can just go to this button here, Image Library, and then you can upload new images. And you'll see I already have some images here. So I'm going to start with actually this image down here of the Raspberry Pi logo, since my story is about the Raspberry Pi Foundation. So to add in an image, I need the name of the image. So I'm going to look here. I'm going to remember that this is raspberry.png. So I'm going to go head back to my HTML code, and I'm going to add in raspberry. No pressure, spelling raspberry right. Okay, raspberry, perfect. Now that is here. And then I'm going to change my text here to be about my story. So I'm going to have that at the Raspberry Pi Foundation. We're doing some digital making with our pets. Okay, great. Okay, I've got my first part of my story. So like I mentioned, let's go ahead. We're going to add in another div tag. So as we're going to start typing in and adding some code, and you're going to see your web page change. So div, actually I need my angled bracket. Div, okay, you see, we just added in. Now, this is actually probably a good time to change the settings to be click when run so that the web page isn't changing while you're typing the code, because that can be a little overwhelming. So I'm going to change the setting to click to run. Now I'm going to go ahead and write in my code. So, and what's neat is this, I'm just copying the code from above. So I just wrote in a div tag. Now I'm going to copy the code from line 12 onto line 17. I'm going to type it out. This is good practice. To become a coder, you have to be able to type out your code. So writing this out, and I'm going to go ahead and add in an image here. So the image I want to add, I'm going to go back. I need to find the name of my image, right? So check out my image library. Okay, Cookie. I think Cookie looked like a great puppy to add to our story. So cookie.jpg. Go back here and type in, cookie.jpg. All right, I'm going to add in the angled brackets. And then I'm going to add in the text for this section of my story. So I need a paragraph. tag. I love Trinket because it goes ahead and it adds in your closing tag, which is amazing, especially if you forget those like me. All right, and we're going to say about Cookie is a big fan of HTML. Okay, so let's run, well, not cookies, we're going to do Cookie. It's a big fan of HTML, and let's go ahead and run our code. All right, so we've got an issue. Cookie is not showing up. Okay, so if that's okay, step back. Let's look at our code. We can check out, okay, we can see that we have the same code written for line 12, and we see that that code's working. So now let's check out and see if it's the name of our file. So I'm going to go back to that file and check it out. Okay, there we have it. Okay, Cookie, I had the capital C, but I forgot that I didn't write that it needs to be a capital JPG, and that's really important. This is called case sensitivity. So it's important with code, especially with HTML, that we use the exact case, so capital letters for our code. So I said it was capital JPG. Okay, fingers crossed, folks. Is Cookie gonna show up? Click to run. There's Cookie. Yes. High five. All right, we got Cookie here with us. This is great. Okay. All right. I want to add in. Let's add in another one. Okay. Let's add in another div tag, and then we're going to add in image source, and then I'm going to add in. Let's add in OP. Okay, OP. Oops, sorry. All right, and OP, and then about OP. OP is, I need to add in my closed angled bracket. All right, and then add in a paragraph tag. OP is a big fan. Oh, OP, let's say OP likes Scratch. All right, let's run our code. Okay, once again, that's something you got to do. You have to remember. Okay, it was a JPG. It was a capital JPG. That's totally fine. This happens all the time. All coders always have this where they have to debug their code and see what's wrong. Okay, now OP should show up. There's OP. OP does look like OP loves Scratch. Okay, now as you saw, like I was adding in images that I had uploaded from my computer. So you can add in your images, you can take photos and upload those here. Now, what you can also do is you can add images from the internet. So I'm going to show you how to add those. So let's go ahead. We're going to add in, I'm going to do another div tag. So we have another square that'll show up, and I'll do another image here. I'm going to go ahead and write in that code. So what we're doing is we're going to be adding our source here in between the quotes, and you'll see here, you've probably been wondering, what's this tab up here with dog images? So I had this already open so I could show you. Look at this. So many to choose from. Let's go ahead and pick this guy because he looks like a coding kind of cutie. So what you can do is if you find a photo that you like, you can right click and you can copy the image address. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the image of this character. I'm going to head back to my code. So I copied it, and now I'm just going to paste it in here. All right. And you'll see it's actually a pretty long source, but it should work. So let's, fingers crossed. Sometimes this happens. Let's run our code. Ooh, what happened? Ah, I see what happened. Does anyone else see what happened? Because I can see it. For some, our new friend is stuck in here with Opie. So if we look back here at our code, that's because I accidentally added this code before the closing tag. So I'm going to take out, so actually what I can just do right here, I'm going to add in a closing tag for Opie, that nothing can join Opie in there. Okay, and then now we've got two div tags. I'm going to delete this one. Okay, so you see I did, there wasn't a closing tag, so this code just kept going, and when I added in our new friend, that got added into the same square as Opie. So now that I have this closed closing tag, which I just added. We should be good. So fingers crossed. Let's click to run. All right, there we go. We added in our new friend. Let's also go ahead and we're going to add in some text there. I don't know this character's name, but we're going to name them Charlie. And Charlie loves Python. Great, so look, we have a story that is happening here before our eyes. Let's go ahead and click to run. We'll see here at the Raspberry Pi Foundation, we're doing some digital making with our pets. Cookie is a big fan of HTML. Opie likes Scratch. Charlie loves Python. Oops, we have a little grammatical error. Loves, and there we go. So my story is unfolding. I am excited to continue writing this story, and I can't wait to see what stories you write using HTML and CSS. So next steps are you take this code and you create your story. So you've got the basics here. You know how you can add in text, you know how you can add in images, and you know how you can add in more squares here for this layout so you can have more parts to your story. So with that, always make sure to save. So I'm going to go ahead and save my Trinket. And then like I mentioned earlier, what you can do now is once you're done, share your story with us. We want to see it. We want to see what you're creating. So you can go to share and you can copy a link, which then you can submit to our team. So if you go to rpf.io/home, there are instructions there for how you can submit your project to share it with us. We'd love to see what you created. We'd love to see your story. And you know what? Maybe you'll get a shout out next week. So thanks so much for joining me. Thanks for joining the Digital Making at Home team. I'm excited to see what you create. Bye.